Good afternoon in New York. Good evening in the Middle East. I'm i24news and you're watching The Lineup. Let's begin. Many unanswered questions remain after yesterday's shooting attack in Jerusalem. 2 Israelis were killed and 6 were wounded when a Palestinian gunman opened fire on civilians. And timing couldn't be worse as preparations are underway amid tight security for the Jewish holy day of Yom Kippur. Gabriel Weiniger has more on the latest in a string of attacks on the Israeli capital.
Even before a Palestinian gunman opened fire on civilians standing at a tram station, security in Jerusalem was tight. Police say in the run-up to the highest holy day of Yom Kippur, they've increased their actions and their presence, especially around East Jerusalem, the Old City, and around synagogues.
Israeli police have heightened security in and around Jerusalem after yesterday's terrorist attack, with emphasis on the Old City leading up to the fast, the Yom Kippur fast, which is beginning already on Tuesday and finishing on Wednesday. Over 3,500 police officers involved in security measures and operations, with different police units, including special patrol units, border police and undercover units that are located in and around the sensitive areas, the Old City, with emphasis, of course, at the Western Wall. And security measures will continue as long as necessary.
The police are looking to assure civilians after an attack opposite their own headquarters on Sunday saw a 60-year-old lady and 1 officer shot dead and 6 people wounded. But many questions remain as to how the attacker, whose name is still under gag order, managed to obtain a weapon and carry out the shooting spree. Was it a lone wolf attack? And was he a member of Hamas, which, together with the Islamic Jihad, took responsibility for the attack? And how did police miss his criminal record? Speaking to the press at the home of the 39-year-old attacker, who was shot dead after a car chase with police, his family say he was constantly hassled by authorities and acted out of desperation.
I told the Israeli investigator yesterday, you are the reason, because you kept pressing my son until he exploded. Israeli forces kept following my son, and he couldn't live normally.
Hamas flags flutter on the rooftop of his family home in Al-Ram in the West Bank, where Israeli forces arrested 16 people overnight for suspected involvement in terrorist activities. It's part of a crackdown on those disputed territories, and police won't take any chances. As routine ahead of the High Holy Days, Israel will close off all entry points from the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, a systematic closure of crossing points for fear of another attack.
And we're now going live to Jerusalem, where our senior Middle East correspondent Mohammed Elkassem joins us from Damascus Gate. Mohammed, take us to the Palestinian streets. How is yesterday's attack influencing East Jerusalem residents?
Good evening, Michal. I think going back to the father of the assailant's remarks in the report, where he said that the Israeli policies is what drove his son to commit his attack yesterday. That's pretty much the sentiments that you would hear from around the East Jerusalem and every Arab Arab residents of the city that we've spoken to today as well as yesterday. The majority have told us that it is the Israeli policies here in East Jerusalem, especially regarding the residents of the city, regarding the status quo of Al-Haram al-Sharif, Al-Aqsa Mosque, and how Israel deals with them is what drives the majority of these attacks, especially from the residents of Jerusalem. And the attacker from yesterday was no different, according to many of them. So basically, there is consensus among Palestinians that unless some kind of a resolution is taken by the Israeli municipality of Jerusalem, but also Israel's government in how it treats and deals with the East Jerusalem residents, Arab residents, they say these kind of attacks will happen, and someone said he is surprised that they don't happen even more often than they do.